Hello and welcome to Channel 2S. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and today it's time for some more Gunpla news. Now, I was going to do this over the first build log of the Real Grade Build Strike Gundam, but unfortunately there was just too much stuff to talk about today, and I certainly didn't want to pile this on top of the many new reveals we'll hopefully be seeing tomorrow, so I made it its own episode. So here we go. First up, we have a bunch of really cool, really exciting reprints coming in March. First of all, we got some Master Grades. We have the Master Grade Faz, which isn't all that rare of a kit, but it's always nice to see it get re-released. In a similar vein, we're also getting the XS Gundam, another Sentinel mobile suit. We're also getting re-releases of the Master Grade Zaku Cannon and Zaku Mine Layer. Of course, these are not super hard to find kits, but they have slipped a little bit out of the production cycle, so it is nice to see them coming back in. We're also getting both Master Grade GM Type Cs, both the Earth colors and the Space colors. Also being re-released is the Master Grade Cublé Mark II Pull 2 Custom. This is the red version of it. And then finally, we have one last Master Grade. This one's really cool. I decided a long time ago that if I was ever to get one version of the Gundam 2.0 mold, it would be this one. And unfortunately, it's been pretty much unavailable everywhere for as long as I've been looking for it. But finally, in March, it's going to be reprinted, and it is the Master Grade G-Armor Real Color version. This looks so cool. It's basically a black and white and red version of the Gundam 2.0 and the G-Fighter all bundled together into one box. I've always kind of liked the look of the G-Fighter. I know a lot of people aren't really a fan of it. It's not really the most realistic thing we got out of the 1 Year War, but I think it's pretty awesome, and I'm definitely looking forward to picking this up, although there's not a chance in hell I'm going to be getting it in March, since there's just too much awesome stuff coming out in that month to get it all on release. But that's just the Master Grades that are getting reprinted, because we're also getting some pretty awesome new high grades as well. We're getting re-releases of the high grade Seed Remaster, Buku, and Rouei. Now, from what I've heard, these are some of the best kits that came out of the high-grade Seed line. Heard great things about them. I've heard they're just really good kits, so I am looking forward to these for sure. And then also, this is the last re-release I'm going to be talking about here. There are a few others, but it's mostly just more common, less notable kits. This is a high-grade kit that's been sold out for as long as I can remember. I think it might have actually sold out very shortly after release, and I'm not sure they ever really bothered to reprint more of them. This is the high-grade Universal Century Gerbera Tetra. For some reason, this kit has just been flat out of stock everywhere for years now. Finally, they're doing another production run of it. I'm sure this is something a lot of you guys are looking forward to. It's the Gerbera Tetra. It's a fairly prominent mobile suit from one of the most popular Gundam OVAs ever made. So obviously this is one that was kind of an odd one for them to leave out of the roster for so long, but they're finally bringing it back, and I, for one, am certainly looking forward to it. But that's not the end of the re-release news, because we're also getting two premium Bandai re-releases in February. The first one is the Real Grade Strike Rouge with IWSP. Now, this is basically just a recolor of the Real Grade Ale Strike without the obvious striker pack, and instead it basically comes with a repackage and slight recolor of the high-grade IWSP from the high-grade Gundam Seed Strike Rouge with IWSP. Now, there's not really any new tooling for it, unfortunately. All they basically did was just make a new adapter that you stick onto the backpack that allows it to work with the Real Grade Strike, so I have to say the IWSP does look kind of crap compared to the Real Grade Strike, since it's like a 10 or 15-year-old high grade at this point. But, you know, if you want it, if you really want this design, I suppose you could pick it up. And again, it's coming out in February, so that's something to look forward to. Also coming out in February, another premium Bandai kit that's getting re-released. The Master Grade Launcher and Sword Striker Pack Set for the Ale Strike Gundam Remaster. Now, those of you that are familiar with the Master Grade line know that there is a Master Grade Launcher Sword Strike Gundam, and that it also uses the old Strike mold. Well, basically what this set is it's the two striker packs from that kit, just on their own, for 2,300 yen. So if you already have an Ale Strike Remaster and you don't want to have one of the old Strike kits just lying around, you can get this and put these packs on your Ale Strike Remaster. Now, of course, this is a premium Bandai kit, so if you live basically anywhere outside of a couple select countries, you're probably not going to be able to get this for 2,300 yen. You're probably going to end up having to pay closer to like $40 to $50 for it. And at that point, you really, honestly, are better off getting the Launcher Sword Strike Master Grade, just because it's much less of a hassle to get a hold of than a premium Bandai kit. But if you're in one of the few countries that the premium Bandai web shop does ship to, then this is certainly a nice alternative to that kit. Next up, we have what I believe is the final box art announcement for January, and this is the high-grade Iron-Blooded Orphans Rouei. We do finally have box art for this kit. It's a little odd that it took that long for us to finally get a glimpse of it, but it is looking very cool. The action shot you can see here on the front is very clearly inspired by the final battle of Season 1. It is looking very cool, and I'm definitely looking forward to this kit. Now next up, we have a whole bunch of new images of pretty much everything we're getting in March, so I'm just going to try to knock these out as quickly as I can. We got images of the High Grade The Origin Charzaku 1. This is the non-S type. This is the one that's in various shades of red. I've talked about this before. I really do like how it looks. We can see it from the back here. It does come with a classic Zaku machine gun, as well as a shield very similar, if not identical, to the one you get with the Bugu. And that's about it. I mean, it's another Zaku Origin kit, so it's going to be awesome, but it's also going to be pretty similar to most of the ones you've probably already built. We also have new images of the high-grade Gundam Bael. It's looking like a good, solid, basic little high-grade. Now, unfortunately, these images are still not in color, but we do have a bit of a close-up of his swords here. They look like they're probably just going to be a single, probably gray piece of plastic, so a bit disappointing there, but not the worst thing ever, I suppose. You can see him here drawing his swords, looking very cool. It looks like he has some kind of hinge mechanism on the holsters that allow them to come into reach of his hands a little bit easier, and it also looks like he has some pretty cool wing movement. We also have images of the 1/100 scale Gundam Bael. This looks very cool. Obviously has some more detail than the high grade did. Also looks like they're making special note of a wrist bending gimmick, so his wrist can kind of tip downwards, allowing him to hold the swords in a bit more of a natural pose. We can also see the inner frame right here. It looks pretty much identical to the normal Gundam frame. Next, we have a big sort of poster style image of the Master Grade Gundam RX 7802, the Origin version Special Edition. Now from this image, it looks like they're bringing to our attention 3 points about this kit. First of all, it looks like it's going to have new box art that's based off of the sort of Gundam Rising moment from the manga, which is pretty cool. I don't think new box art is necessarily something that's worth, calling out on a list of features of a model, but fan of the manga, you're probably going to be very happy to see that. The second feature is the one we've already known about. That's the light up eyes. You get both colors of eyes as expected. And then the third point here, this I wasn't really sure about when I saw it in this picture here, and I looked around some pre-order listings for this kit, and it seems like there's going to be some kind of poster that you get with it that's supposed to look like these sort of blueprints of the RX 7802. So that's a pretty awesome bonus. I could definitely see that hanging up on my wall. Next, we have some new images of the Atlas Gundam. None of these are really new images. They're just higher resolution versions of the little glimpses of what we saw in that big blurry poster last time. He's looking very cool. You can see him from the front here. He comes with a lot of equipment. From the back, looks like he's got those sub-arms. They look pretty cool, but looks like he can take all the armor off as well. Here you can see it from the back with no armor, looking very spiny and skeletal. As you can see here, he can use those back sections as a pair of sort of skis, which looks absolutely ridiculous. But like I said last time, it is ridiculous in all the right ways. And one of those right ways is being able to form a boat out of the skis. So stupid and so awesome. Also, it looks like he can store his beam sabers in his shoulders, which is pretty cool, since often when a mobile suit has kind of hidden beam saber storage like that, they don't always replicate it on the high grade. So it's pretty cool to see them bringing that back. Now next up, we have a couple new images of the amazing Strike Freedom from Gundam Build Fighters. Nothing super, amazing here. It's basically just a couple poses based more or less just showing off the function of the Dragoon pack. So it looks like, just as I originally suspected, they do open up, as you can see here. And it looks like the ones on his gun can also come off and fly around and be their own weapons. Now next we have a kit that I did talk about a little bit last time. This is the Super Fumina Angel version, or as many of you actually point out in the comments, Super Fumina Axis Angel version, because this is actually inspired by the Q-Blade. Looking at it again, it is actually pretty obvious. If you look at those parts around the ankles, they're very clearly inspired by the Q-Blade, and the little nurse's hat is actually a Q-Blade's head. So pretty cool little fusion of designs, and yes, I did say I'd get the Super Fumina if it was based off a canonical mobile suit, so, we'll have to see, but I might end up getting it. I don't know. Also, we have some more images of it now. We can see it from the back here. As you can see, it is very obviously inspired by the Q-Blade, as you can tell by that very distinctive Q-Blade butt flap it has. And then we have these two images right here of it. These ones interest me because if you remember, one of the really creepy things about Super Fumina, well, other than the obvious creepy things, was that her face, especially her eyes, seemed to be kind of sunken into her head just because of the way the face was assembled, and it looked really creepy and kind of wrong. Well, it looks like there's two different options for the face on this one, because we have the traditional one, and then we have this new one that looks like it might be using that multicolor injection technology they perfected with the figurized busts. So If that's the case, that's really cool. Other possibility could, of course, be that this is just an image of it with the stickers on top of the clear parts, which would be kind of lame if that's the case. But personally, I'm hoping they've included some of that figurized bust technology so we can get some multicolor injection molding on this, because that would be pretty darn cool. And next up here, almost at the end, we have some really, really cool looking pictures. Now, these aren't really like official stock images of the actual kit. These are more just CGI renders of it. But here we have the real grade gold frame Astray Amatsu Mina custom, blah, 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 blah. The really cool version of the Astray. It's jagged. It's really awesome. It reminds me of the metal build, actually, and that's very cool because I love the metal build designs, and it's great to see that kind of aesthetic styling on a smaller, cheaper kit. But here we have it from the front. It looks awesome. Here it is from the back. It is still looking really awesome. I like the way the wings fold over each other quite a lot. Here we can see that the wings actually have a lot of different moving parts on them. Looks like all the parts of the hook can extend out and articulate. There's a little flap that pops up at the top of the wing, kind of like on the Wing Gundam Verka, which is pretty cool. Here we can see a close-up of the head showing we got a lot of detail in there. I'm really looking forward to that. And then here we also have it in a very awesome looking action shot, sort of throwing its spear out into the wild. Looking awesome. And speaking of the spear, we can see right here that this guy just comes with every weapon you could ever possibly want. He's got the shield looking very awesome, the beam saber, the spears, these kind of bendy grappling wires, which will probably not work that well being wire weapons, but we'll have to wait and see how those turn out. Couple of very cool little sword lances, a awesome looking spear. I cannot get over how cool that spear is. There's so much color separation, and has an orange effect part on the tip that's so cool. And there's that orange beam shield as well, and the claw gauntlet. Just every one of these weapons on this guy looks so cool. But anyway, moving on from that piece of awesomeness, we have another pretty awesome looking kit, the Master Grade Providence Gundam. Now here we can see an open cockpit shot of the kit, with a little figurine of the pilot inside, all painted up. Also gives us a good look at just how much detail there's going to be on this kit. I mean, look at those hoses. That is so cool. You've also got a bit of a glimpse as to some of the features we're going to be seeing on this kit. First of all, his feet can point downwards, which I'm sure is probably important. Next up, they're kind of showing us how the arm cannon sort of attaches to his forearm. It looks like there's an opening flap, and you just kind of slide his arm in there, click it in, close it shut. Looks like a pretty simple, effective mechanism. And here we have him firing off all his Dragoons, and it looks like the Dragoon effect parts are going to be clear, not clear blue, which is a bit disappointing, but if you're at all paint savvy, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. So there you go, guys. That is Gunpla news for this Thursday night. If you enjoyed this video, be sure you leave a like and share it around with your friends to help this channel grow nice and big. So in the following few days here, in addition to that IBO press event that I've talked about that I will be covering, I'll also be building the real grade Build Strike Gundam, so you got that to look forward to as well. If any of those things sound awesome to you and for some reason you're not subscribed to me already, hit that icon on the screen right now to do so. There's also buttons below or beside the video, depending on what browser you're on. I shouldn't have to explain it to you. Hopefully you know subscribing works. There should be thumbnails popping up along the side of the video right now. Go ahead, click on those, check out some of my other content. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time.